Once upon a recent time in the heart of Stockholm, there existed a place of musical promise, a beacon for the sonically inclined, known as Kungliga Musikhögskolan Stockholm. It was here that I, a young maiden of Eastern European heritage, with a soul saturated in melodies and a heart brimming with the hope of kindred artistic spirits, ventured to bask in the glory of musical excellence. Oh, how fate doth play her cruel jokes, for the story I am about to unfurl is not one of triumph, but of a tragic symphony of disenchantment. As I approached this grand institution, its sign hanging like a false promise in the crisp Scandinavian air, I felt a stir within me. The sign was a siren's call to my starved artistic sensibilities, so inclusive and inviting from afar. Yet as I stood there, the cold irony of its welcoming facade began to smother my initial delight, for it was but a gilded lily, a hollow welcome to a place where warmth and true hospitality seemed to have taken their leave. With each step closer, I imagined the hallowed halls echoing with the harmonies of talent and passion, but alas, my dreams were to be met with a cacophony of indifference. I recall a gentleman, Hans Lindblom by name, who, along with his companions, was subjected to the peculiar oversight of acoustics on the fateful night of the 9th of November. The Armeens Musikars concert, a performance that should have soared to the heavens, was marred by the cruel jest of silence where voice should have been heard. The musicians, oh how their instruments wept with beauty, yet their efforts were undermined by the great folly of soundless speech. For on the choir loft where they sat, the higher powers had neglected to install the sacred vessels of amplification loudspeakers. And so, the words of the master of ceremonies, the very guide to our auditory journey, were lost to the ether, leaving us adrift in a sea of unfulfilled potential. One might wonder, how could such an esteemed institution overlook the basic tenets of auditory experience? Is it not the simplest of courtesies to ensure that every note, every word, every whisper of creative intent is heard by those who seek it? But no, the powers that be at Kungliga Musikhögskolan Stockholm seem to revel in their own negligence, leaving the audience to ponder in silence, our ears straining for a connection that never came. And then there was the matter of the reviews, a litany of lamentations pennied by souls as forlorn as my own. Cecilia Gillang, a kindred spirit in her one-star despair, mirrored my discontent. Mohsen Bisharatpa, with his 2-star offerings, seemed to echo the sentiment that something was amiss in this land of supposed musical enlightenment. Werner och Werner, in their 3-star musings, spoke of a potential that was never quite realized, a promise unfulfilled, much like the fleeting beauty of a musical note that fades before it can reach its crescendo. As I wandered the corridors, the whispers of dissatisfaction seemed to seep from the very walls. The air was thick with the scent of unmet expectations, a perfume of disappointment that clung to the rafters. The silence was not the peaceful hush of contemplation, but the stifling shroud of apathy. It was as if the institution itself had grown weary of its own pretense, a once noble steed now hobbled by the weight of its own grandeur. The reviews, these digital confessions of the aggrieved, they were but the verses in a grand poem of disillusionment. Each one a stanza, each complaint a refrain in the ballad of Kungliga Musikhögskolan Stockholm's fall from grace. The lack of warmth, the cold indifference of the acoustics, the sign that beckoned with false promises all characters in this drama of disenchantment. And what of the emotional toll, dear listener, can one truly measure?
In the shadow of the esteemed Kungliga Musikhögskolan Stockholm, a traveler might expect an echo of excellence in the surrounding businesses. However, the reality, it seems, is a cacophony of dissatisfaction that sings a different tune. Imagine, if you will, a symphony where each note is slightly off, and the melody of a pleasant experience is lost in a sea of discord. Let's start with the Gallerian, a place where the basic human right to use a restroom is held hostage by the jingling of coins. Here, the restroom is not a refuge, but a revenue stream, much to the chagrin of Tom Drums, who laments the sad, desperate attempt to profit from nature's call. Arnie Dagger echoes this sentiment, finding no place to rest his weary feet amidst the hustle and bustle. While Maria Francisca Garrido wilts under the stifling heat, her love for the place withering like a flower in a drought. Across the way, the culture Kungshomen serves up disappointments as frequently as their waiters serve up attitudes. Duo Bros and Big Diddy recount tales of service, so poor, it's as if the staff were paid by the scowl. Daljit Anihar's saga of diminishing returns and increasing rudeness is a cautionary tale for those who dare to dine repeatedly. And Tony M.'s warning about the seafood pizza is a lesson in culinary caution. Beware the mussels that never breath the open air. Buller Bird, a place where the pastry is as flaky as the staff's tempers. Carl Söderberg and Marta Vargas were left bewildered by the laptop ban, a policy as stale as yesterday's bread. Elina Charetisidou and Camilla Adamova found the service as cold as the cinnamon buns were said to be warm. And poor Stefan, who encountered a bun so dry, one wonders if it was baked in the Sahara. Styrekampagniet, a nightclub that dances to the beat of its own drum, often at the expense of its patrons. Piro Nu and Ma Rcel were left out in the cold, their paid-for table disappearing like a mirage in the desert. Tilahan Sella's wallet grew lighter, yet his spirits grew heavier in the face of demands and deception. And Ricardo P., whose warm jacket was a captive in the cloakroom's castle, a mote of time and indifference separating him from his garment. Grandpa Södermanagatten, a shop that promises the charm of the unique, but delivers the uniformity of the mundane. Brian Mitten's search for something special led him to a place that felt as inspired as a department store clearance rack. Ekin Dole's tale of customer service gone awry is a saga of responsibility shifted and calls unreturned. Finally, Pharmarium, where the medicine of mixology falls short of curing the common cold, let alone the ills of poor service. Esther's lament over the tiny, pricey drink nestled in a sea of ice is a sobering reminder that size, indeed, matters. Alex Adrian's quest for a sophisticated cocktail was met with a concoction that was, at best, mediocre. What does this all mean for the traveler? It means that near the Kungliga Musikhögskolan Stockholm, one must tread lightly. Expectations should be tempered and wallets should be guarded. It's a land where the promise of a luxurious experience can dissipate like the steam from a neglected cup of coffee. As a sensitive soul with an idealistic heart, I find myself emotionally battered by the tales of those who came before. My heart aches for the tourist, the local, the unsuspecting patron seeking solace in a pastry or a cocktail, only to find themselves in a plot twist of poor service and inflated prices. So, dear traveler, let this be your guide. Approach these establishments with caution, and perhaps carry with you a sense of humor as sturdy as your wallet. For in this land of musical masters, the Symphony of Commerce plays a tune that is, at times, out of key.
You know, I was just wandering around near Kungliga Musikhögskolan in Stockholm, taking in the sights, and I couldn't help but notice how things aren't always what they seem, you know. Like there's this one shop, it's all quaint and inviting, but I bet it's got some stories. I heard about this tourist who got all excited about a special discount they were offering. The prices seemed too good to be true, and well, they were. The items were super low quality, nothing like what was shown in the pictures. I can just imagine the poor soul, realizing they've been duped, feeling that sinking feeling in their stomach. They probably left feeling pretty silly in the shop. Well, they probably just moved on to the next unsuspecting visitor. It's like they were playing a game, and the tourists are just pawns, you know. Then there's this other place, a little calf just a stone's throw from the music school. It's got the charm and all, but apparently they've been known to slip in some extra charges on the bill. Like you order a coffee and a pastry, but when the bill comes, it's like you've bought the whole bakery. I can picture the tourists scratching their heads, trying to do the math, thinking, did we really eat that much? They probably just paid up, not wanting to cause a scene, and left with a bad taste in their mouth, literally and figuratively. And the calf, they were probably still at it, counting their ill-gotten gains. It's sad, really, that places so full of life and music can hide these little pockets of deceit. I mean, you come to a city expecting adventure, not to be taken for a ride. It's like these businesses think tourists are just walking wallets. But hey, I am not here to judge, just to tell it like it is, you know. I just wish people would be more careful, maybe ask around before they decide to trust a place with their hard-earned money. And it's not just about the money, it's the trust, the feeling of being safe in a new place. It's like these scammers are stealing that away, piece by piece. It's wrong, and it makes me sad, but also kind of angry because these tourists, they were just trying to have a good time, make some memories. They don't deserve this. I guess in the end, the best we can do is share these stories, hope that someone listens and doesn't fall into the same trap. Because seriously, nobody deserves to be scammed, especially not when they were just trying to enjoy the